Hello, my name is Mary,
And I'm James.
and you're listening again to another episode of the Watch That Jawn podcast.
Yay, yay. Tell them what we're about to review, Mary.
A tale as old as time, and also a summer blockbuster. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
The Odyssey. So, Mary and I have been a fan of Greek mythology for as long as I can remember. I remember that my third grade class, we had this teacher who came and taught us Greek mythology, and it was like a little TV program where they kind of act out. No, they act out the myths, and
like a play?
Yeah, but it was on TV. It was on a PBS special, and there was an opportunity for me to go on a show, and I didn't somehow.
This is news to me. I have no idea what he's talking about, guys.
Yeah, no, there was an opportunity for me to go on this PBS show that reenact Greek mythology when I was in third grade.
James also lying.
And I didn't go because either I didn't do the permission slip or something happened. I remember seeing it in class, but my other classmates went, and I watched it, and I was upset that I didn't do it. But
you missed your big break.
I missed my big break. I'd have been famous. We love Greek mythology, from Percy Jackson, right? The version of Percy Jackson's from Mary studied art history in college, and you studied the Iliad. I got your Iliad of Homer book right here.
I was looking all over for that book, and you have it.
Yes, I have it. What books do you have, Mary, as references right now?
I have an art history book, dating from ancient Mesopotamia art history to more modern times. And I also have the Dictionary of Classical Mythology by Pierre Grimaud. So I'll definitely be utilizing this book during this episode because, once again, this movie is based off the Odyssey. And pretty much because I'm realizing the kids aren't learning about the Odyssey in school anymore. Like, me and James were talking, and even back in elementary school, in middle school, maybe not elementary school, middle school, we'll have these big textbooks, and they'll have little excerpts from the Odyssey and the Iliad and Beowulf and Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet. So we got an introduction to those things. But I was talking to my nephew, he didn't know anything about the Odyssey.
Do you think, one, that people don't talk about the Odyssey because it's simply too long, or because Disney hasn't adapted it yet, to be like a cartoon like they did with Hercules? If they made an Odyssey purely from Disney, do you think more people would know about it?
That could be a reason. I think it's, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to crap on Gen Z, but I think the attention spans are just shorter. Reading something, even though, of course, we're not reading the whole Odyssey in elementary school, or even in my high school, we didn't. But I think it's just too long. It is an epic poem. So we're going to get some history really quickly. So the Odyssey occurs after the events of the Trojan War. And if you do not know about the Trojan War, to make a very long story short, you have the king of Sparta, who is Menelaus, and the king of Mycenae, who is Agamemnon. And then you have the city of Troy. So Menelaus' wife, Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman in the world, is supposedly kidnapped by the Prince of Troy, Paris. She's supposedly kidnapped and taken back to Troy, even though we all know they were in love. She went on her own free will. And thus, Menelaus started a war alongside with his brothers against Troy. Simple as that. The Odyssey deals with how the Achaeans, aka the Greeks, which includes Odysseus, which includes Achilles, how they got home from the Trojan War. So pretty much getting home from the Trojan War is very arduous. It's crazy. And that's what the Odyssey is. Odysseus way back home from the Trojan War. Anything I forget, James?
No, I think you did a really good job of summarizing it and showing that Helen had to be the baddest woman in the history of the world to start this war between these great nations, including Odysseus's Ithaca, including the Spartans, Troy, and the other Greek nations who fought in the battle of the Iliad, the Battle of Troy, for 10 years before the even events of the Odyssey of them trying to make their way back home, Odysseus and his men.
Yeah. So, and historians believe that the Trojan War, even though Homer doesn't make any mention of it in the Odyssey, historians and Christopher Nolan, in his movie, he talks about this. He believes that the war was really started to gain access of the Trojans' trade routes because they had very good trading routes, and the Achaeans or the Greeks really wanted to get a hold of that, and they believe that's the real reason why. Menelaus.
Christopher Nolan's version of the story mentioned that as well.
Yeah,
which makes
and
sense.
Historians they do debate that too, but it's a romantic poem. It's an epic poem, so there's so many things in Greek myth and myths all over the world. In antiquity, even today, where people do things out of love or lust or jealousy. So I think it's still a good story, even if it is just for love.
It's a good story. And if you guys, we're assuming you watched the movie because this episode is not spoiler free, right? Like Mary said, this story is almost as old as time itself.
Yeah, you can't really spoil the Odyssey, guys. And we'll spoil the movie, but not the story.
Not the story, right? But if you guys definitely should watch the movie. But if you're more into music, I strongly recommend listening to Epic the Musical by Jorge Riviera Herons, who basically, I think during his master's program,
these Puerto Ricans just be making these
like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Just be making these freaking
musicals.
Epic musicals. Like,
Epic the Musical. Really,
I don't even know if he's Puerto Rican.
But it is incredible. He goes basically the whole Odyssey immediately after the Trojan War, song by song, and I knew the events of those that happened in the movie, Mary, not from the textbooks, not from me reading, but mostly from this Epic the Musical.
Child, I had no idea who Alexander Hamilton was until Hamilton.
Yeah, that is also true.
Yeah, which is worse because it's actually American history.
That is 100% true. So keep building musicals to teach people things.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
So as we said, this movie was directed by Christopher Nolan. And I think like a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, he wants to take something that is fantasy and try to ground it in realism, like he did, with the Dark Knight series. So, and also he did one Justice League, right?
He did the Dark Knight series, Oppenheimer, which we also reviewed, Interstellar, Inception, Dunkirk, Memento. He's done a lot of great films. Mm-hmm. Great films.
Yeah. And one thing that's interesting to me, he does an interview with Time Magazine. And one thing he says is, gods do not exist in his world. In the Odyssey that he creates, gods do not exist. There are other monsters, of course, and we're going to talk about those. But he says, gods do not exist in his world. So
Athena's in the movie.
Huh?
Athena's in the movie. Zendaya.
But we know that's not really Athena. That's not really Athena. Gods do not exist in this movie. Other supernatural beings exist, but he really wants to ground everything in a sense of realism. And because I had one gripe with the movie. That's not really a gripe, just one gripe that I told you about. But knowing, how Christopher Nolan is and how he tries his best to root fantastical stories in realism, now I kind of get what he's saying. So, yeah, he's saying there's no gods in this movie. So I think knowing that, I think it really does kind of change my view of the film. I can try to see if I can find the full quotes. Because he's talking about Zendaya in one scene, and he says, and we're jumping way ahead, but
No, that's fine. I think this is important because when I was first start watching it, I expected that I expected to see Zeus and Poseidon portrayed, because in the story they played a big role in Odysseus trying to get home and actually preventing him to get home. Zeus, Poseidon, mostly Poseidon, Athena. Athena was, I expected based on the Odyssey, that Athena would basically be his right hand man and like kind of coaching him through the obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, she really was only like, she didn't have many lines at all. She just kind of listened to Odysseus speak and then just disappeared into the
She would challenge him. Challenge him. But so what Christopher Nolan says is, my interpretation of Zendaya's character is that she is not Athena as Odysseus initially presents her. Gods don't exist in this world, but a manifestation of his guilt. During the sack of Troy, we see her as a priestess in the temple of Athena, and the Greeks behead her. For Odysseus, she encapsulates the chaos that the horse has wrought on the world. But my editor did not interpret it that way. I'm hoping you will settle our disagreement. And one thing to note about this that I find is so interesting, let me just get nerdy really quickly. So, in my art history book, okay. So, this can wait till later. I'm going to come back to this. But, or do you want to hear it now?
Let's put a pin in it. And
let's put a pin. Let's get to it. So, do you want me to start?
Yeah, kick us off, Mary.
All right. So the scene opens up with Travis Scott. And one
the
thing
party never ends.
That is Travis Scott. See, Ray Shrimmer was on that song, so I think that's his song, but it is his song.
Yeah.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. You come around, yeah. Okay, so it's Travis Scott. And one thing that kind of disappointed me was the use of modern language in this film. They talk very modernly, and you know how we love flowery language over here. How many times have we quoted Troy? You will have no eyes tonight, or ears or a tongue. You will wander. You know what I mean? There was none of that. There was none of that. Well, maybe not none, but maybe not to that extent.
I didn't mind the modern language.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
When Telemachus said "dad," I said "dad," not father. Dad.
I didn't mind it because, I tried to watch, for example, Denzel Washington did a movie a few years ago when he played Macbeth. And the director chose to, I think it was Martin Scorsese. Scorsese, yeah.
Scorsese.
They chose to use straight, like, Shakespearean.
Mm-hmm. You got to read the footnotes for that.
It's even, I was reading the subtitles, Mary, and having no idea what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't have 5 minutes per paragraph to figure out what he's trying to say.
No, for any sort of, before reading the Iliad, our professor was good. She made us read the footnotes, and the book flow like.
Yeah, no. So I'm really happy that they're like, hey, you know what? We're trying to do a lot with this movie. This is the first time, for example, they recorded in IMAX cameras. They shot most of the scenes.
Wasn't Superman shot in IMAX, the latest one?
Not 100%. 100% IMAX cameras. It's the first time.
So loud, I thought my ears were going to be ringing when I left.
Yes, it was extremely loud. But they shot most of the scenes like on site, so they had very few green screens. Like they built like the Cyclops. They
practical
built
effects.
Yeah, they built practical effects, and the Cyclops, they were actually in a cave. Like they were actually on the ocean in the ship, and they actually taught the crew how to row. So this movie has done so many things.
It did the work.
It did the work that them saying, hey, we're just going to talk like we talk. I get it. I get it.
Oh, they're like, we're not adding anything else.
Nothing else.
Like,
nothing else, dude.
I'm crying.
We just going to talk like we talk.
I learned how to row. I don't need to know how to talk like a Greek,
prehistoric. Okay.
Yeah. So, Travis Scott, he's telling a story. He's a bard. He's telling a story in the dining halls of the castle in Ithaca. That is where Odysseus is from. I don't know what the castle's name is. You know how, like, on Game of Thrones, Driftmark.
The Red Keep.
Yeah, the Red Keep is in King's Landing. I don't know what it's called. So he's regaling the story of the Trojan War, which we told you about, guys. And we're immediately introduced to this movie and how stories get told and remembered. You know, there wasn't too much writing going on. Not everyone knew how to, a lot of people didn't know how to read. A lot of people didn't know how to write. So stories were told verbally. And he's telling the story of the Trojan War. And we see Odysseus in the next scene and the soldiers packed inside a wooden horse. And that is the infamous Trojan Horse. And pretty much the bard, Travis Scott's character, is telling how the Achaeans got the drop on the Trojans. And if you don't know the story, they built a horse. And they said it's a gift from the god Athena, because I believe that Troy is a patron city to the goddess Athena. So, and also the Greeks are losing the war. Troy is a fortified city. They have an impenetrable wall all around them. And they've been trying to get past that wall and nothing's working. So they're like, let's appeal to the Trojans' religion. Let's build something.
For 10 years.
For 10 years, they've been on a beach trying to get... imagine trying to get into a club for 10 years.
10 years. 10 years. Just dying, too. You know, like... people are dying. You're withered, out of food,
leathery. Yeah.
Withered. And so when
morale is gone.
When I first heard of the Trojan Horse, I was thinking, my original thought was like, who could be so stupid to fall for a trick like this? You know, to fall for this random horse being built on the sand and you deciding to bring it to the city. But then when I realized the psychological effects of war, and especially if you think you're fighting, you know, is supported by the gods.
Oh, yes.
And there was also a culture. They talked about a lot in this movie about Zeus's law. Do you remember that?
Yes, Xenia.
Yes, Xenia.
If I'm saying it right, it's Xenia. I'm saying Xenia.
So Zeus's law is essentially you welcome guests with open arms, right? Basically, you welcome guests and like a tribute. You know,
it's like hospitality.
Like hospitality. You know, like Southern hospitality to the next level. Like,
and one thing that's important about Xenia is it's essential to morality and social order, because it's like, okay, listen, if I can come into your house and we keep the peace, then that means you can come into my house and we keep the peace.
Exactly.
If we can, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you cool? We cool. All right. I dined with you. I supped with you. We traded things. We talked. We got to know each other. So it's kind of how you keep social order.
Yeah. Respect the gods. I'm looking at the principles associated with Zeus. Respect the gods. What do you say?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay. Respect the gods. Keep oaths and promises. Respect hospitality, like you were saying. Respect divine and natural order. Yeah. It says, do not overstep your station, and then justice must be upheld. So those laws, it seemed like it grounded these societies, and that's why the Trojan Horse worked, you know, more so than it would today. Today we would be skeptical, and that's not the social norms of today, you know. But So yeah, it was a really brilliant strategy. They used, and even the director, Christopher Nolan, they really built that horse, right?
Yeah.
They
And
really built
it
it.
was, yeah, they really built it. And also like, um, so like pretty much the Greeks pretended in the story and in Christopher Nolan's story, the Greeks pretended to like leave the war and sail to a nearby island. Well, actually, yeah, this leaving behind Sino, and we'll get to Sino later, who persuaded the Trojans that the horse was an offering to Athena that would make the city impregnable. So, not only is it an offer for Athena, but they're saying, hey, you bring this, it's like a totem. You bring this horse inside your walls, no one can get in. So that's what Sino told the Trojans. So yes, it's also that sacredness for Athena, probably a little bit of Xenia too, and also thinking, hey, this is what's going to help us,
Yeah.
But yep. So Sino's a Greek soldier who presents the horse. But Odysseus, this is his plan. He does not tell Sino that they're inside. So
Yeah, he had no idea that they were inside. So much so when the Trojan soldiers came and stabbed him, he legitimately thought it was just a gift. And it was a sacrifice that Odysseus planned because he knew that if anyone knew that they were inside the horse and that was their last chance of victory, he didn't want to risk that, you know.
but why does he think Sino was such a big risk? If you would have told him, hey, we're inside, like either you could try to persuade them, come inside with us, as someone else, like why does he think Sino is not trustworthy?
I don't think that. I think just when you have a plan that's so critical, you keep the cards to yourself. You keep it as
But so
as
many
need
other
to
people
know
know about those plans.
only people either on the ship, not there, or the people inside the horse.
But I guess I don't know why he didn't choose him to go inside the whole. You know what? What if? I guess okay. He's already a part of the plan,
Yeah.
so why not tell him the full plan? I don't
Need to
know.
know. Need to know basis. I get it. It sucks for him, but it's a need to know basis. He didn't need to know.
So this
He
story,
needs.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
this story, it jumps from timelines. It jumps from where Odysseus is presently to the events of the Trojan War
Yeah.
to the events of earlier events of Odysseus and his men trying to get home. So we'll try to explain that as we go through the plot. We're gonna go through the plot as the movie tells the story. And of course, we'll jump around when we want to. We always do, but just stay with us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So do you want to do the next section, James?
Yeah. The Greeks enter Troy. So the Trojans bring the horse inside this city.
Mm-hmm.
And once night falls, Odysseus and the soldiers emerge and open the gates for the Greek army. The Greeks pour into Troy and begin destroying the city. This is one of the first places where the movie starts complicating Odysseus as a hero because the victory is immediately connected to destruction. They go and burn down the city. And it was as if, I can't remember if they said this on a movie, but it was or this was an interview from Matt Damon later on. But it was as if like the 10 years of rage of fighting this war
Yes. He
was
unleashed it on the
unleashed
city. Yeah.
all on one night.
Yeah.
And the way that Agamemnon stood when he opened the gates, with his all black suit and like the vertebrae on the back of his braid.
It looks so much better in IMAX. I'm glad I saw it in standard because I can understand what you're saying because IMAX was so loud, but it looked like black lacquer in IMAX. He was intimidating.
Yes.
He looked like a hellish like a hellish conqueror, something you'll see out of a nightmare, but so freaking, he was wicked. That was wicked.
I saw a meme that was like, when you start a whole war just to show off the fit.
Just to show off the fit. Because that joke, I said, bruh. And my thing is, maybe it's me. My interpretation of Agamemnon, and maybe it's because my first introduction to the Iliad and to the Odyssey was from Troy with Brad Pitt. And like, you know what's funny? Guess who was Odysseus in Troy?
Odysseus
da, da,
in Troy.
It
was it was Ned Stark.
It was Ned Stark
from the actor who played Ned Stark in the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that was him. And you know, it's funny too. I'm actually learning that Dune also is tied up in the Odyssey.
Really?
Like I think the main character of Dune, I think his name is Paul Atreides. I think he's from House of Atreus. I think he's related to Agamemnon and Menelaus.
Oh.
But yeah, so do you want to hear some mythology real quickly?
Let's get nerdy.
All right, so really quickly, we talked about Athena, and I just want to give you guys an idea about Athena because Athena is very important. Athena, aka Minerva, that's her Roman name. Greeks and Romans, they share a lot of the same gods, they just have different names for them. So Athena or Minerva, she's a goddess of wisdom, of war, and of reason. And one thing that is interesting about her, why she's so smart, is that she sprouted from Zeus's head, fully formed.
So she's a brainchild?
Yeah, literally. That's why she's so smart. And she loves to help people. She loves to help Odysseus, even though he does spurn her. She loves to help Odysseus, and even in Homer's version of the Odyssey, she is pleading with Zeus to help him with his journey.
To get
back
because
home. Because we'll talk later. Odysseus pissed off Poseidon.
In Homer's version, didn't she plead to have Calypso let him go? To let him go home?
I think Hermes helped. Hermes, she might have. I think she did. She was pleading on her half. And that's not the first time. She also helped Perseus and Hercules. Yeah. So she loves helping heroes on their journey because she likes war. So we talked about Agamemnon and his fierce armor. But I think the whole Atreus lineage is very interesting, and I'll do my best to get through because I do think it's interesting. So, like we said, Agamemnon's the king of Mycenae, and his brother Menelaus is the king of Sparta. Menelaus is married to the beautiful Helen of Troy. Agamemnon is married to her twin sister, Clytemnestra. I'm wondering if they're twin sisters and why isn't Clytemnestra also the most beautiful woman in the world, but okay, who cares? So, like we said, they go to war because someone stole Menelaus' wife, apparently. But the Atreus line was cursed from decades before. So this family's kind of cursed, like destined for devastation.
Like the Kennedys.
I don't know anything about that, but I believe it's true. So it all began with King Tantalus, right? This is so interesting. So King Tantalus, he was a friend of the gods. And for some sick reason, he decided to tempt the gods' omniscience. Because, they said they're all-knowing. So the man kills his son and feeds it to the gods, wondering if they know that's him. Of course they know that's him. So in order to, they curse him. So when Tantalus is in hell, they said he stands in water as high up to his neck. But whenever he tries to drink the water flows away. And there's always trees, like fruit hanging above head. But whenever he tries to pluck the fruit hanging above his head, the wind blows it away.
That sounds like hell.
And that is the root word where we get the word tantalize. Because of Tantalus' story.
Wow.
And the definition of tantalize, if you don't know, is wanting something that's you can never really get. It's unattainable. Wow. So the Atreus was cursed there. And then later on, the gods, they restored his son back to life. And then they had many kids. And let's see. With his twins. So yeah, so literally also later on, Peplos' brother. Well, let's see. We're trying not to make this super long. But
yeah, but I think that what you're trying to illustrate is that the family was cursed for a long time.
Yeah, so
even
it makes sense.
Agamemnon, he won the war.
He won the war.
He defeated Troy. You know,
he was killed.
But he was killed. Who was killed by, Mary?
He was killed by Clytemnestra because, and like there's another curse why he was killed with Clytemnestra, because he pissed off Artemis. So what happened was that
Artemis is the god of war, right?
Artemis is the god of the hunts, the goddess of the hunt.
Okay, the goddess of the hunt.
You're thinking about Ares.
Ares is the god of war. Yep.
I think someone in his family killed the sacred deer of Artemis.
Oh,
so
okay.
Artemis was pissed. When it was time to sail to Troy, Artemis did not allow the fleet to sail. So in order to do so, to appease her, Agamemnon sacrificed his own daughter, Iphigenia. And then when he came back from the war, after he won the war, he's expecting a homecoming. Clytemnestra is still pissed, and her lover kill Agamemnon.
Crazy.
And then like there's a bunch of curses that happen in their lineage before. So the whole family is cursed, pretty much.
No, that happened in Nolan's version as well. Is that her?
Yeah, they depict that too. Yeah.
Yeah, they depicted that. Yes.
So yeah, that's all the lore I have for this point. But let's get back. Yeah,
the Greek mythology is what you guys realize. It's ruthless.
It's shockingly gruesome.
A
lot of cannibalism, a lot of infanticide, a lot of incest, rape. And, that's an interesting thing about the word rape. I think back then rape in a context meant to be stolen, for women to be carried away. You know what I mean? Like when they say the rape of Europa, Zeus rapes a lot of girls. But I think rape in a context means like to be kidnapped, to be stolen away in a sense. But there was also rape too. But yeah. So where did we leave off?
We left off as the Greeks invading the city of Troy. And I want to talk about one more thing about the horse itself.
Okay.
So the actors were really inside the horse, and they built it using the same structure as the ships, so it can look like realism. And then the actors really dragged the horse from the shore to the city. They really erected it.
My back hurt watching that scene.
Yes, they had hundreds of people,
they don't got no wheels,
actually pulling it and erecting it, and they recorded it.
They had these logs that just pulled. I said, my back hurts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is slaves doing this. Grueling work. On the sand.
Real people did that. That was not made up. That was not green screen. That was Christopher Nolan.
So he had
going
slaves.
Crazy. He had slaves that he paid whatever the minimum wage.
I need to make as much as Matt Damon for doing that.
Yeah. My back.
Spinal. I broke my back.
The actors inside of the horse was getting frostbite when they were at the beach. They had a camera and microphones inside of it. It just the amount of effort and how much he actually went and tried to make this as realistic as possible is mind-boggling, and it paid off.
What did you think about the actor performances really quickly? Matt Damon as Odysseus, Penelope as Anne Hathaway, Telemachus, Tom Holland.
Yeah, let's talk about the actors real quick. I thought Matt Damon...
He's a racist, but god damn, he's fine.
He got jacked.
Oh, he's always been jacked, but he looked good old.
Yeah.
He's just like the type of person who doesn't talk much. He just get up and gets it done.
Yeah.
And I love a man like that. They just get up and they get it done.
No, I agree.
He seems stoic, but also a sense of humor. Arrogant, but also humble too.
Yeah. No, I think he did Odysseus very well. Because Odysseus has to be likable. Odysseus was cunning. He was clever. He showed compassion at
Strong.
times. He showed like he was vicious at other times. I think Matt Damon was able to do that and make it all believable. You know?
He looks so good. I hate it.
I think that Anne Hathaway,
I loved her.
playing as his wife, Penelope was also fantastic.
I love how she's kind of a cunt.
Yeah, she
taunts people. She's frustrated. She's angry. I like how she's not like the docile woman at the loom waiting for her husband to come. No, she's pissed off.
Yes,
she wants those suitors to burn, and I love it. She's hateful. She's a hateful bitch, and I love it.
She does. She acts like a queen. Like you said, not just the wife of the king. She acts like the queen. There was a scene where her and her son Telemachus, played by Tom Holland, and Tom Holland was like, "I will take the throne." And
she said something along the lines, yeah.
And then Penelope was like, who do you think been ruling this?
Right, the throne is not empty.
Yeah, like I am on this. I feel that
it reminds me of Alicent when Viserys was getting sick.
Exactly.
It's like the throne has not been empty. I've been on that throne. I've been on
that. Exactly. I've been making decisions. I've been running this country.
Right. I'm supposed to sit pretty. Now I'm here. All these dusty men after me who cannot measure up to my man. Why would I want you when I had the Odysseus? I'd be mad too. Like, these niggas suck. This nigga, bring me back my nigga. My nigga coming home. He gonna kill all y'all. Like, she got mad. She was always talking trash to Telemachus. She was like, because it takes a man to sit on the throne. I was like, yo, she's a bitch. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because a lot of times in mythology, or just like in stories in general, women are beautiful and docile and a man's peace. No! Be the fury.
Be the fury. Be the rage. Be all the frustration of 20 years of this war.
Anne Hathaway, I was like, you better go off. She said, burn them all. I said, oh my God. Yes. But
yeah, she killed it. What do you think about Tom Holland's portrayal of Telemachus?
You know, I'm kind of Tom Holland out. I thought I was Tom Holland out, you know, because, and to be fair, there are not many movies I've seen Tom Holland in other than Spider-Man. So in my mind, Tom Holland to me is like it's like a sanitized Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, like a clean version of him.
You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. And I'll probably make those comparisons because, you know, he's in Zendaya. He's in Dune with Zendaya. There kind of are the new age's heartthrobs. And it's kind of interesting to see, like, our age's heartthrobs and these new heartthrobs are shorter.
They're shorter.
They're shorter. They're prettier. You know, we had, like, rugged heartthrobs. Like I said, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, Denzel Washington. Pretty boys. Yes, they were handsome, but, you know, Timothy Chalamet is giving editorial sometimes. Like, Tom Holland is giving charming boy next door. I guess Leonardo DiCaprio was like that too. So it's just kind of like, it's interesting to see the new age heartthrob. Where is I going with this? I don't know.
I asked how do you think Tom Holland was doing as an actor?
Oh, yes. So I thought he wasn't going to be fierce enough for this role. I'm like, you're the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. They should have gave it to Timothy Chalamet. He already is an Atreus, I guess, Paul Atreides, but he held his own. I think he did well with his strength, playing the prince who's green behind the ears.
Yeah.
He kind of led into that boyish charm. You know, he cried when he heard Menelaus talk about his father. You know, he still didn't know how to fight that well. So I think he played to his strengths. So Christopher Nolan did a good job for casting him because he didn't seem like Tom Holland trying to act tough. He seemed like you know what I mean? It was a good match.
No, I agree. I liked Tom Holland. I could not stop seeing him as Spider-Man, but Spider-Man, I think he does well with Spider-Man. But I didn't mind it.
Right, he's so likable and sweet. It's kind of hard.
Yeah,
but I thought I feel that way. Watch the movie, I didn't feel that way at all.
Yeah, but I think that he wasn't really asked to do much, except for most of the movie he had conversations with his mother until he left.
Telemachus didn't do much in the story either.
He didn't. Telemachus didn't do much. Telemachus, he was just a baby when his father left, a young boy. And by the time he returned, it was his responsibility to fight off the suitors that were trying to, rape his mother and take over the throne. So he had to basically get strong.
Rape? I don't think it was rape. I think it was marriage.
In the Odyssey, yeah.
They said suitors in the Odyssey. I think it was marriage. I don't think it was rape. It was marriage. It was the same thing in the Odyssey. There was. I don't mention. Sure. It was real. It was probably marital rape, but they were trying to get married. So I'm not saying rape's out of the picture, but I don't think they just wanted the gang raper. I think they wanted to put a ring on it first, then rape her. So
yeah, I don't know.
All right, so let's continue. We're seeing the Achaeans have fully infiltrated Troy. And
after Troy falls,
thanks.
Odysseus breaks away from Agamemnon's main fleet and takes his own ships home. So they decide to go separate paths.
Yeah, and that was a grave mistake. A grave mistake because the way Odysseus, he doesn't want to go home. And we'll discuss later why he doesn't want to go home. So he's like, let's take the scenic route. And his right-hand man, forgive me, I do not know his name. What's the name of that brown man?
Eurylochus? I can't
Eulogy?
read, Mary. Not eulogies. EURY. Your LOCHUS.
LOCH Eurylochus?
Yeah, Eurylochus. Let's call
whatever.
It
so his right hand man, Eurylochus, is saying, "Hey, Agamemnon's taking the world with more provisions. Like, what are we doing? If we're not going to go that route, let's take more provisions from Troy." And he's like, "We take it from Troy enough. We'll get more provisions on the way. Let's take the scenic route." So, and one thing that I believe there are a few things that Christopher Nolan kept out of his version of the Odyssey, and that is when Odysseus and his men goes to I'm gonna call it the sea cones. It's CI cones. So this is another town that they go and they plumage and they overstay their welcome. And because they get, they're on a high. I think Christopher Nolan talked about this for a second, actually. I think that's the first place they go to where they don't even know about the Trojan War or anything. This might be the sea cones, but in Homer's Odyssey, they go to the sea cones, they're feeling themselves or they're feeling good. So they overstay their welcome and they take too many provisions, and eventually the sea cones rise up and they kill a few men.
Well,
yeah.
I thought a point that they skipped was, in Homer's version, they find Hector's infant child, and basically Odysseus kills that child. Because he's given a vision that the child could grow up to become an avenger and basically be a threat to him. So Odysseus basically takes the baby and throws it off the side of the walls of Troy.
Oh my God.
That part was skipped also. Probably because, if you have Matt Damon throw a baby off the side of the wall at the beginning of the movie, probably not going to really feel him that much.
They did it to that dog.
Just a likability.
They did it to
that
that
was another
dog.
version. And it makes sense that they can't possibly do everything that's in the epic poem. It was a long movie, but you can't make it.
It's a very long poem. Yeah.
Very long poem. So yeah, like you said, they decide to go different directions, and this is literally the beginning of the Odyssey. End. It's gonna take them the beginning of the end for everyone, except for ultimately Odysseus.
Yeah.
So the movie cuts back to Ithaca, where Penelope and Telemachus are dealing with Odysseus' absence. It's been roughly 2 decades since Odysseus left, and Telemachus is now a grown man. The
Oh
palace,
wait, we
like you
didn't
said
talk about
earlier.
that scene. We didn't talk about the scene. Does the scene came up yet? When they talk about the pendant of Athena, where
Oh yeah.
Penelope
Well,
first gives.
I don't remember exactly when it happened, but yeah, Penelope when Odysseus was they were laying in bed, and Odysseus was telling Penelope that he had to go to war
Mhm,
because Agamemnon has called to him,
mhm,
and he essentially was like, "Hey, it's gonna be a minute for me to come back." He knew then that this is gonna be a
mhm.
long war, and I might not come back. And Penelope gives him that pendant. You said right,
Yeah, she gives him like
of
a
Athena.
brooch of the
I
goddess
think it's a
Athena,
good luck
saying this.
charm.
It's a brooch. Yeah, it's an icon that's going to protect him. And she
Like
said,
a favor, like a favor. Think about
hmm
like a knight favor.
and she's like, keep this by you, it'll keep you safe. And Odysseus is a little irreverent. A little irreverent is like putting it lightly, but he takes it to humor her, and also because he loves her. But I don't think he fully believes in the power of the pendant. And I think that could really be Christopher Nolan nodding to us that there actually aren't any gods in this movie.
Yeah.
There's, you know, um, so yeah, I just want to put that in there because it is important. And I thought that scene was tender. I think Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway had really good chemistry. I'm like, y'all hunching?
Yeah. So and if you think about it, they weren't on camera almost at all,
Mm-hmm.
based on like with each other, except for that one scene and towards the end, But so they had to have that chemistry and had only a limit of time to portray that.
Well,
I thought
these
they
are
did really good.
seasoned actors. These
That's
are
true.
they've been in the
They know what they're
game.
doing.
They've been in
Yeah.
the game for a minute, but
From
still,
Born
you can be as
Supremacy to Princess Diaries, like
yeah, yeah,
they've been hustling.
yeah. Honestly, and one
So
thing that I wanted to make note of really quickly is the sea people. A lot of times in Christopher Nolan's films, in this film, they talk about the sea people and the fear of people coming from the sea. And pretty much the sea people are as vague in Christopher Nolan's story as they are in the real Odyssey. No one really knows who they are, and they think they represent kind of the collapse of the Bronze Age. So if you're looking to get a better overview of who the sea people are, it could be anybody. I think it's just a general series of events that led to the collapse of the Bronze Age and different civilizations caused by a myriad of people. And I think, just to put it nicely, they call it the sea people. Even the ancient Egyptians warned about people from the sea coming. So it's a very like vague term. I just want to put that out there.
but I think for the movie, the sea people were depicted of a group of people who went against the common norms of Zeus's law and would basically bring about a negative change to how the world operated. And I think ultimately Odysseus and his men became those people
Yes,
because
that is true. Yeah, they became it too. Yeah.
the
Hmm.
trickery that it took, like we said, to set up the horse, right? To basically fool those people who is very nature, very religion, is to offer hospitality, goes against the laws of Zeus. And they defamed, Athena's statue, which, like you said, to respect the gods was another one of the laws of Zeus. So I think that was another hint at that. But
Hmm.
meanwhile,
Back to Xenia.
back to Xenia. But meanwhile, back to Ithaca, all these suitors are basically waiting outside the doorstep of Penelope, and they are growing
Outside this
tired.
doorstep. Oh, you mean outside her? They in the house.
They're in the
Outside her
house,
chamber.
outside her
We in
chambers,
the house.
And the main suitor is
Antinous.
Antinuous, played by
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, right? Who has obviously played in Twilight films. He played in the most recent Batman movies.
He's in a
And
movie with Zendaya right now.
he is
Called
in
The Drama.
the drama. We were Zendaya right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Zendaya getting paid, baby.
She is. Zendaya and Tom Holland, yo, they're making big money.
Bank. But hold up, really quickly. Let's talk about people being so mad that Lupita was cast as Helen.
People, first off,
I need y'all to get a life.
I think so too. One, this is mythology, right? Two, let's face it, Africans are the most beautiful people in the world anyway. So if Helen,
you about to say Helena? Wrong show.
Wrong show. If Helen is supposed to be the most beautiful woman in the world, and obviously trade routes were back and forth through Africa and Egypt,
Ethiopia, especially
like it easily,
even though she don't look Ethiopian still. Yeah,
no, I'm saying, but it easily could have been like they got a baddie from African woman easily. Like, come on,
and Lupita
guys.
Nyong'o is gorgeous. My thing is,
she's absolutely gorgeous.
Y'all complain about conventional beauty standards so much, but when we try to break from that standard,
people were hating that she wasn't
they're
pretty
saying
enough.
she's not beautiful. Yeah.
Oh my god, I thought they were talking about because she's black. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, black women, we do not fit conventional beauty standards, but once we understand that conventional beauty standards is based on racism. So why are we still upholding racism? You know what I mean? Y'all saying she's not pretty because she dark skinned with big lips. You know what I mean? But if we know these beauty standards are racist, then why are we upholding them? Y'all want to change when you see it, you start complaining. No
one is going to war for the girl next door. Come on now.
Come on. My thing is, you're not worthy to sniff Lupita's doo-doo. And you calling her ugly? Okay. Please.
That is crazy.
Right, you could
I didn't realize that.
Like, what?
I thought people were just upset because you're putting the colors everywhere.
Yo,
so
I saw an Instagram post today calling Chloe Bailey ugly, and I'm like, people are calling Chloe Bailey ugly. Let that sink in. People are calling Chloe. Let that sink in. So the world, they done lost their mind. But
people lost their mind.
Lost their mind.
People lost their mind, and basically, if you can't accept people being people playing in these roles and looking like how the world is, then you have a problem. Not the directors, not the actors. That is a whole personal problem. But I digress.
My thing is, Charlize Theron. I'm not even going to say that. Whatever. I'm not going to say it. Yeah.
Okay. So, Telemachus, he leaves eventually, and he goes to Sparta to speak with Menelaus to try to figure out what happened with his father.
No one knows where. He doesn't know where his daddy is. The suitors, there's hundreds of them. Well, maybe not. There's 100 of them. There's a lot of men in this house abusing their hospitality, eating them out of house and home, and he's sick of it. And, back in the day, in antiquity, women used to weave. They used to weave, and their men are away. They got on the loom and they wove, and that's what Penelope was doing. But little did they know, besides Antinous later, that she said, when this funeral loom is finished or whatever it's called, I will take a suitor. I will marry again. I will remarry. But she's done doing it every night.
Yeah,
straight 20 years.
Just straight gangster. Just like going, woman, taking it off. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that men have no interest in looming and moving or whatever at all.
In women's work, yeah.
In women's work at all, because it should have been like, bro, you could have did that in 3 weeks. What is going on?
The handmaid is the one who told Antinous.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah, he didn't notice. No one noticed.
He didn't notice. Like, oh yeah, it could take a long time. Like, she's milking it, bro. Mm-hmm. But John Bernthal.
That's DQ's favorite actor.
I like him a lot. He
got a black man swag about him.
He does. He plays in The Punisher. He was on the what was the zombie movie? The zombie TV show.
He was on a Wire spinoff.
Yeah,
That's
he
really
was.
Good.
I'm right now watching The Bear, and he's Mikey off of The Bear.
Oh.
And he has, like you said, this like swagger to him, and him being the king of Sparta, Watching the movie 300.
Sparta.
Yeah, after watching the movie King 300 with Leonidas, and he having to replace Leonidas, I believed it. I believe, okay, yeah, that man's the king of Sparta. He just had kind of like a swagger to him, you know? Mm-hmm. He's like, man, who has a story about Odysseus? I heard about so many different stories, but you weren't there. You weren't there in the horse with us. We weren't there. I was actually there when I was fighting with your father.
That retelling was one of the best. That was really good. We discussed it already, but him retelling them being in a horse and then just seeing that was incredibly done. And like I said, when them gates opened and Agamemnon was there in his furious glory, I said, wow, now y'all ate this. Y'all ate this.
Like, I wanted to be, for Halloween, I wanted to be the Mandalorian and have my daughter dressed up as Grogu and have her ride over.
Don't paint my baby green.
I was going to put some ears on her. She ain't getting painted. But I might dress up like Agamemnon now.
So who's she going to be? Helen? That's weird.
That's weird. I don't know. Maybe I just get her a little Trojan horse. She just kind of rides a little pony. But no, that outfit is fantastic. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think that the way they told, because it's a story you heard so many times, that I think the way they told it was unique.
Well, not everybody. Shoot.
Not everybody. But
Mom ain't know. I was like, Mom, you ain't know? So yeah, I liked his little trip to Sparta too. Just trying to get information on his dad. And after that, do we then get to...
I think we get to Calypso.
Polyphemus.
No, I think we go to Calypso. I think they jump back and forth to Calypso because Odysseus is washed up and he's living on Calypso's island. He's been there for years, but he doesn't know. He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember what happened to his men. And he just been eating this lotus flower, which lotus is like a mind control sort of flower that wipes his memory.
Another thing that Christopher Nolan admitted kind of from his version is the land of the Lotus Eaters. Odysseus and his men do go to the land of the Lotus Eaters. So I think Nolan kind of makes up for that by making Calypso a Lotus Eater.
Yeah.
And one thing, so pretty much Calypso is a nymph on a mythical island of Ogygia. She's the daughter of the Titan Atlas.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was exiled for Atlas for taking her father's side, and pretty much the Titans rose up against the gods to defeat, but they were defeated by the Olympians. So
Atlas, isn't Atlas the one who's
he's a man who holds the world. He's a man who holds the world. Yep. Also known as Oceanus or Nereus. So yeah, she took her father's side, and because of that, I think Zeus cast her aside to that island, and that's why she's there all alone.
She's stranded. She's stranded on the island. She's stranded on an island, and Odysseus actually. And
you're right. It was Athena who pleaded with Zeus to intervene to help Odysseus go. So she's feeding him this lotus flower
because she doesn't want him to leave, and she falls in love with him. And they're there for years, and he doesn't. And
one thing that's really interesting, I don't mean to cut you off. One thing that's really interesting is that, like we said, Athena pleads with Zeus to let her go. Hermes let Odysseus go. Hermes came and helped let Odysseus go, but Calypso's mad because she's like, Zeus is a rapist. He's taken so many lovers and had so many extramarital affairs. That's why. What's her name? That's why Hera hates all of his bastards. And it's like, you take so many lovers, I take one little lover, and you damning me? You can do whatever you want, but I can't do what I want? So
it's a double standard, you know that. Double standard.
But one thing, I was disappointed, but I was at first, by Calypso. And I may call her Circe, apologies, but I was disappointed by Calypso, because my first introduction to Calypso was, do you remember what movie? Well, I first seen Calypso on the big screen.
I remember Calypso being on the big screen was a Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think it was At World's End.
At World's End.
And she was this Jamaican lady.
Who was the actor? Do you remember?
Her name, I have Let's see.
But
Google
yeah,
that, Jawn.
she was, because she was Jamaican, I felt like they made her more witchy than nymphy.
She is a witch.
She was a witch. I remember she had a bunch of shrunken heads, and
Her name is Tia Dalma.
okay, yeah,
Oh no, that's not. No, it's the actress's name is Naomi Ferris.
okay,
So they're saying is a mysterious mystical voodoo and hoodoo practitioner in Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, first appearing in Dead Man's Chest and returning
Dead
at
Man's
Atwell's
Chest.
End. She lives
Okay.
in a swamp shack, aids Captain Jack Sparrow and his crew, and later revealed to be the mortal form of Calypso, the imprisoned goddess of the sea. That's so freaking fire. Because we didn't expect, and she's a freaking cutie. We didn't, she looks like Rihanna. Like, she does. I'm not just saying that. She really does look like Rihanna. Is this Rihanna? This is Rihanna before Rihanna. But
This
like,
Rihanna, yeah.
they just said unleash Calypso. Did she turn into a giant woman like Steven Universe or something and took her the whole ship? I said, oh, snaps! I was like, it was fire. So seeing Charlize Theron is a beautiful woman. Historically, a baddie. My whole life she's been a baddie. But she looks like a normal woman. And I know she's not Cersei, Calypso isn't a goddess. She's a sea nymph. But it's like, I wanted her to be kind of more of a big deal. She just looked like a normal woman. And, you know, that does fit Christopher Nolan's style of adding realism to fantasy. But I wanted something.
I thought the scenes with him on an island were just boring. I didn't really care. Mostly because I knew he was on Calypso. I knew he was with Calypso. I knew how long he was on the island. I didn't care. But I think it was cool how he was trying to remember, and he's like saw like pieces of his ship just float by. Like he noticed
it was
some
heartbreakingly
things,
beautiful.
and he's just like, oh, like, am I supposed to be somewhere? Am I supposed to be with people? Why am I alone? You know? And she just kept brainwashing him because she didn't want him to leave.
She said that, hey, you know, when you first came, you were stranded. I nursed you back to health, but you were having night terrors. You were so horrified about what happened to your men, as you should be, and so traumatized by what happened at the Trojan War, you could not sleep. So I gave you the lotus flower to, you know, make the pain be more in your body than your mind, so to ease your mind and help you sleep. But you liked it because you want to forget, because you don't want to go home. And you kept eating it, and you kept eating it. And she says in the show, he's like, I don't remember. She's like, yes, you do. Why don't you want to go home? Like, she's like, you ate it because you wanted to forget. A part of you wanted to forget.
Yeah.
But another part of you was still like, no, I need to go home. And that's why you were still picking up the scraps of your ship trying to make a raft. Just like, I don't know what this is for. It's kind of sad. It's like, if I offend everybody, I'm sorry. It's like a person with dementia. There's something. This is important, but I can't remember why. But
no,
he kind of did it to himself.
I don't think it's offensive. I think it's a reality. And
well, I didn't want to. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think that the way they did that allowed Christopher Nolan to tell the stories that's supposed to last for years in an abbreviated way, versus if like we move through time in a chronological order, you know, it would have probably felt more rushed, versus he's now trying to remember and it's coming back in pieces to him. It's in fragments. It's different things happening, you know.
And it makes sense. The Odyssey is written all in hindsight.
It is. And also, like, it was a poem. You know what I mean? How many people, like, butcher poems and get things backed up and confused, you know? And it's just, I think the way they did it, even though I thought when he was sitting on the island with Calypso was boring, I thought it was boring the
first time when I watched it in IMAX because I couldn't hear the dialogue. When I watched it in the standard and I could hear dialogue, I get it. I get why Calypso was in love with him. I get it. It was tender after all the freaking hell and chaos. Even though he was a sex slave,
he was there for 7 years.
They loved each other. I feel like he loved her as much as he could. If he didn't know about Penelope, and she definitely loved him. God, how could you not? Ugh, I hate that man, but he looks so. I mean, anyway. So
this is essentially the last stop of the Odyssey before he gets home, but it's the first stop in the movie for us as the viewer, because when his men decides to separate from
Really?
Agamemnon's ship.
Wait,
Right.
really quickly. Did we already explain what happened between Sino and Antinous? Who was supposed to go to the war and who didn't?
No, we skipped over that part. I didn't understand it, to be honest with you.
I didn't get it either.
I didn't get it.
I was like, don't tell me I missed this show again. I thought you look it up real quick. It's not in here.
No. I think it's not in my notes. I think they just tried to I don't know, one of the boys paid to go to war in his stead, and that was the main suitor that was trying to get Penelope. And Xenia, we just talked about, he was sacrificed in front of the Trojan Horse. But I did not understand the significance of it, except to just prove that I don't know. I don't know what the main significance of it was. But anyway, to keep the story going, the first stop that...
Okay, it says, in Christopher Nolan's adaptation, Antinous tricks his younger peer, Sino, and taking his place in the military lottery for the Trojan War. Antinous promised to pay and support Sino's family while he's away, but reneges on the deal, leaving Sino's father to die in poverty.
Mm.
There you go.
Tragic.
Oh, you care? So you said tragic.
Tragic. Just, I don't know. It's a minor note, I guess. Just to show.
No, it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. It was a big deal, but yeah.
It was crucial to the story. Yeah.
So they get to the Cyclops lair. What's the Cyclops name, Mary?
His name is Polyphemus. And do you want to hear something about Polyphemus? Because I have the background of this too. I'll keep it brief. So Polyphemus, he's a shepherd, but he's also the son of Poseidon. So
the son of a shepherd?
The son of a shepherd. We're off the son of a shepherd. So, yeah, Poseidon has a lot of freaky kids. He also has more Cyclops children. So yeah, so the thing that's different. Well, okay, how about you describe what happens in the movie, and I'll tell you something that's a little bit different than what happened in how Homer's is a little bit different.
So they get to the island and they find sheep. They follow the sheep into the cave. I believe they begin to eat the sheep, and that's when
they don't. Yeah.
That's when the
so
Cyclops,
they go to the cave and they're just like, Odysseus' right hand man is like, we should get out of here.
He sees a fire and he realizes someone has been in the cave
and a whole bunch of cheese, and he's like, we should leave. And Odysseus like, what about Zeus's law? And he was like, I'm pretty sure whoever lives here doesn't care about Zeus's law.
Yeah, he's like, hey, like they have sheep, they have cheese, they have a fire. We can at least be their guests and show us some type of hospitality. But instead, it was a giant Cyclops. That was monstrous looking.
He was done so well. The fact that even his nose was crooked.
Yeah.
And he doesn't see them at first because he literally has one eye in the middle of his face. And the eye it's not horizontally, it's vertically in the middle of his face. So you can't see.
Yeah, no, his eyesight
he has
is
no
pretty
peripheral
terrible.
Vision. Yeah,
his eyesight is pretty terrible. And he's a shepherd. He doesn't even eat his sheep, I feel like. He just goes and maybe he eats the sheep, but
I think he gets the cheese. He likes the cheese.
He eats the cheese. He's like peaceful, just hanging out.
He's not peaceful, I would say that.
He was just in his cave by himself chilling. And then he found the soldiers.
But if he got sheep, why you got to eat them men if you already have sheep?
Well, because they're in his cave. They're in his house. Castle doctrine, Mary. This is America.
Tell me you got to eat them. a nice person would offer you
nice.
in.
I didn't say nice. I said peaceful.
Peaceful is not eating people. Is never peaceful.
Meaning he's not out there chasing them down. Like he would just.
If I come into your house and you eat me, you think that's peaceful?
If you come into my house,
you should guest friends for dinner.
They weren't guests. They were intruders.
They weren't okay. Xenia is a common theme of hospitality. That ain't nothing new. That's the culture of coming to people's houses and expecting not to get eaten. That's why they did it so freaking often.
So, I think. So the way I heard about the Cyclops, right, was that
Polyphemus.
Polyphemus is that, um, you know, in this, once again, epic, the musical, the way that happened is that Polyphemus catches Odysseus' men eating their sheep. Odysseus offers, in exchange for the sheep they ate, to offer him wine. Polyphemus takes the wine. The wine is tainted with the lotus. He gets knocked out. Once he's knocked out, they stab him in his eye. And before they escape, Odysseus turned around and says,
Well, Polyphemus is like, what's his name? And Odysseus introduces himself as nobody.
As nobody.
So right. Later on, when a neighbor in Cyclops asked Polyphemus why he was crying out at night, he replied that nobody was killing him, and they just ignored him.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if nobody's killing me, leave me alone. Right,
mm-hmm.
And then...
But he also, just like in Christopher Nolan's story, he made a fatal mistake, and he told the Cyclops his name. He was like, my name is Odysseus. And Polyphemus... Yeah, in Homer's version.
Homer's version, yeah.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan's version, he taunts him with an arrow to the eye for no reason. Because he was mad that the giant spit out his man's helmet. So, yeah, the same thing happened. So, they're in the tent, they're in the cave, you know, they're trying to get out of the cave. And, you know, they use sheep to get out of the cave. So, the same thing happens in Homer's Odyssey. But instead, after reaching the ship, Odysseus says, it was me who blinded you. Polyphemus then prays to his father to make his life a living hell because he knew his name now.
Yeah.
And also a seer told Polyphemus that Odysseus would do that to him. So, beforehand. But you didn't finish what happened in the movie. Explain the actual movie.
What did I miss?
Everything. Like you said that you said that it was all practical effects, so Polyphemus was not CGI at all?
Yeah, they built the structure, and they built it inside of the actual cave. The actual cave of Zeus, like they actually went there. And they had to... The actual cave, it's called the Cave of Zeus.
Where is it?
You know? That's where they actually...
Somewhere?
I don't know where it's at. It's probably Greece, I don't know. But they filmed it, and they made the cave a sound stage. A sound stage. With almost like with puppeteering, you know, and recording.
So what, they rigged up a person, or they rigged up the cave?
They rigged up like a structure that acts like the Polyphemus, and it was incredible the way it looked, and
he was terrifying. He was absolutely terrifying. Mom was in the theater like, this is so dramatic. I was like, Mom, I told you wouldn't like this movie, but he was absolutely terrifying. And one thing that was so funny to me is when, after they blinded him, he started crying out to his father Poseidon, and one of Odysseus's men is like, he could talk? Why didn't he say anything to us? And Odysseus was like, do you talk to ants?
Exactly.
You're just so insignificant.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is size so important? The bigger you are, like, you know, you're so insignificant. He's not talking to you. And he's like, should we try to reason with him? He was like, I think we're well past reason.
Way past it. You just blinded. Like, this thing can only have one bad eye. He just took his one bad eye.
I did kind of feel bad when he was writhing in pain.
Yeah.
I did kind of feel bad. But, you know, Odysseus is a G because he had a chance to get out. But he saw more of his men still left behind, so he jumped back into the cave right as the giant was closing the entry point with the rock. He jumped back to save his remaining men.
He did.
So
he did.
I think 6 men died here. I think I could be wrong.
6.
Yeah. Yep. He devoured 6 Greeks over 2 days.
Wow. Terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying. So the next island they get to is the island of the giants. So
they're called the Laestrygons, or the Laestrygones.
They are giant, sword-bearing, armored cannibals.
Everyone's a cannibal in Greek myth.
And they are terrifying because they are ferocious. They are menty. There are many.
It's on sight immediately.
Yo, this is like they just get decimated and have to sprint back to the ships. They're swimming in the water. They're taking the ships down. Like, it was incredible how they portrayed those giants. Because when I think about Land of the Giants, I'm thinking like 3 or 4. Like, there was hundreds of these niggas just running out the woods, you know. And there's no, like, you can't stand and fight them. The only option they have is to flee.
And they were in this sort of wood where the trees moved around them.
Oh, yeah, the trees moved too. And the
trees would lock them in.
Yeah, like Pocahontas type thing. Like the Pocahontas, or like more recent, I just watched it, Lord of the Rings. You know, where the trees move, and the trees can... basically, if the woods is fighting against me, I'm out. I'm not fighting the woods and the dragons. I mean, and the giants and the cannibals. You know.
So according to the Odyssey, when Odysseus arrived, he brought his ships into a large and apparently safe harbor where he anchored. He landed and sent 2 of his men to explore the area. At the gate of a town, they soon met a girl drawing water from a well. They asked who was the king. The girl took them to her home and called her father.
This is Cersei's story, right?
No, it's not. This is the Lacedaemonians.
Oh, okay.
The girl took them to their home and called her father, Antiphates, who immediately killed one of 2 soldiers. Then he called all his compatriots to gather together. They dashed to the harbor and bombarded ships with enormous rocks. All the ships were wrecked except the one which held Odysseus, who managed to escape. So, yeah, that little boy, that child who started screaming when he saw them, it was also in the Odyssey as well. But she was drawing water from a well, and she took him home to the castle, and her father started to kill people. You know, Christopher Nolan just abbreviated the story. Because remember that kid? They was like, "Can you talk?" And she just started screaming.
Yeah,
and they just came like that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Just seeing them come immediately. How y'all get dressed so fast? Do y'all stay in that armor?
They just stay in the armor. You gotta stay ready.
I didn't think they were human. They're
not human. They're giants.
Said cannibals. Cannibals. To be a cannibal, you have to be human, right?
To be a cannibal, you have to be human. But I think the Cyclops is a cannibal too, technically, right? Or he just eats
a man-eater.
Man-eater. Yeah, I don't know.
He's a man.
They're definitely not. They're not normal humans to be that big and that fast.
That just freaking dreadful.
After the giants attack, they faced a new threat on a different island, a woman. So
Cersei. So a lot of people are upset by the portrayal of Cersei in the story. And once again, I'm going to do a quick lore about Cersei. So Cersei's a sorceress who uses drugs and spells to turn men into animals. She's also skilled in necromancy, which is communicating with the dead, and she helps Odysseus later on go to Hades and talk to the dead to get vital information. So I'm going to read this. So in Homer's version, I'll let you tell what happened in this story. Odysseus sends some of the remaining men to forage for food on the island. Cersei fulfilled before them. I'll let you describe what happened in the movie. Pretty much Cersei, she is kind of seen... Cersei has been traditionally, I'm reading from Britannica, Cersei has been traditionally regarded as a dangerous embodiment of female sexuality, but modern feminist interpretation represent her as a symbol of female autonomy. And I'll let you describe what happens, and I'll get back to that.
Yeah, in the Christopher Nolan's version, when they land on Cersei's island, the crew essentially forms a mutiny. And they tell Odysseus to stay behind. That's a little,
not a mutiny, but...
They said the word mutiny. He was like, is this a mutiny? Right? Basically, are we taking over? Because they didn't want Odysseus to go with them. right?
But it wasn't. I think he suspected it, but I don't think it was.
They think Odysseus
He
basically is
lost control a bit. It's like, hey, we lost a lot of guys because you want to go explore, but you don't want to go home.
And they also
we could have just followed Agamemnon's trail.
But they also think he's bad luck. Like, the gods don't want him to go home.
Oh, yeah, because you're so... Yes, what you did. Yes, you upset Poseidon by shooting that unnecessary arrow at Polyphemus, and it was hell to get here. And a lot of things happened, too. Like, apparently they got thrown off course by magical winds and,
Yeah. And...
So they're like, hey, you sit this one out, friend.
Exactly. Like, you sit back here. We're going to go and search the island. So he lets the men go and search the island, and he gets interested. I think he finds, was it a deer he tries to shake? He tried to search? He saw running in the woods or something like that?
He tries to hunt. And I like how Odysseus in this story, when he sees a foe, he lets them know that he's about to attack by flicking his bow, even if it's an animal.
Yeah,
because he loves a good fight. And later on, when he's about to kill a pig, he doesn't do it because he can't, do that.
Yeah. But on the island, as the men are walking through the island, they see just exotic creatures, like just tigers and lions and, panthers just laying out in the grass, docile and chilling.
I won't say docile, just not actively trying.
No, they're chilling. They're just sitting there, just relaxing.
They growl.
And they get to Cersei's lair, and Cersei's like, "Hey, you guys must be tired. I can feed you." And they're like, "You're cooking all this food for us?" He's like, "Yeah." And she feeds them.
Leave your weapons at the door.
Leave your weapons at the door. And she welcomes them in, and she turns them all into pigs. And
with this massaging sort of chant, she massages their face while they eat. It reminds me of Spirited Away, and maybe that's where Spirited Away got it from.
Oh yeah. I actually imagine that Spirited Away got that from Cersei turning them into pigs
because the men were eating; they were ravenous. It's like they couldn't stop. It seemed like they were choking on their food, just slopping it down, and in a swinish way. And then Cersei goes over to them. And she hums this tune, and she massages their face and literally formed them into swine.
I think
it's disgusting.
They were eating that way because of the magic, not because they
absolutely. They couldn't stop.
They
couldn't stop. So they're just gorging themselves and gorging themselves. I took bootleg, y'all. I don't care. They're just gorging themselves, and that the meat is enchanted. So. Yeah, and, one thing when Odysseus figures out what's going on, figures out you turned my men to pigs, her defense is very valid. She said, you sent these men to me. I'm a woman all alone. The things that you men praise in battle, that sort of savagery, befalls the people every single day. It befalls women every time you men decide to wage war. No one's telling them to stop. No one's telling them. Remember in House of the Dragon, where Daeron went to Cole and said, "Hey, they're raping the woman." No one's doing that. You, unlike Odysseus said, he unleashed 10 years of fury onto a city. You think the woman experienced that? These men are honorable.
Absolutely.
So you really just said, you don't know, I don't know, y'all. Horrible things probably happened to Cersei. And it's just I understand her representing, as Britannica says, a symbol of female autonomy. And even when she turned them back to men, she said, I release you from your disguises. No, she said, go back to your disguises. Meaning, you really are pigs. The man is your disguise.
No, I do empathize with Cersei because until Odysseus was able to.
Let me see if the audio will play.
Odysseus was able to get.
I don't know who this girl is to you. If you don't put that knife down, I will throw you to find out. Family. Mother.
Can you hear?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at. She grabbed.
You did this to her like you turned my men into pigs.
I didn't turn your men into anything. Look at them. This is who they are. Look at them. Base. Disgusting. Primal urges that you value in battle. They raped and pillaged across the world for you.
You can't hear?
Yeah, so that part explicitly.
Wait, let me finish. Hold your thought.
That part explicitly was why I stopped feeling bad for Cersei. You know, when she...
Oh, because she turned her sister too?
She turned her sister too.
Yeah, she's petty. You know, two things can be true. Two things can be true.
Two things can be true.
Maybe that's why the girls are mad. Maybe that wasn't in Homer's version. Maybe they threw that in there and that kind of dulled her point. Maybe that's why people are mad. It's like, oh, see, they just made it seem like you just turned anyone you don't like in the animals. So maybe that's what the girls were mad about. Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know if they're mad about that or simply people are mad that Cersei wasn't a baddie. You know what I mean? Because I thought Cersei was going to be a baddie because...
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Originally, she went and, like, portrayed... like she basically was like seduced the men to come inside, right? Seduced them to relax, right? To drop your weapons, you know, be comfortable, you know, and she was just a regular woman, an older woman who was tired. And to be honest with you, like
she's a witch. She ain't no regular woman.
She was. I'm just saying the way she appeared. That's
the Nolan-ness. That's the Christopher Nolan stamp.
But also in, you know, in Homer's version, the notes that you sent me, which I appreciate you doing all that research for, Odysseus stayed there for years and had 2 kids with her. Like,
yeah, some tales do tell of him having children. I don't know if that's in Homer's version, but there are versions where he had children.
Yeah, yeah. So, Cersei.
Yeah, but even, like I said, like even Odysseus is a man who could be so honorable, but so gruesome as well. Because like I said, even when Cersei in the movie, it's like, hey, take one of these pigs, slaughter it for dinner. And Odysseus can't bring himself to slaughter the pig because the pig's not putting up a real fight. There's no chase. And she's like, oh, I could tell you're not a farmer. I think he doesn't know how to slaughter a pig. But it's like, no, I know how to slaughter a pig. But even when he was hunting deer, before he met up with the other people, he flicked his bow to let the deer know I am here.
Yeah.
You know, so he couldn't do that with the pig. And thank God he couldn't because that was his best friend. But, so Cersei gives Odysseus vital news. Yep. She said, you are thrown so off course. You pretty much got to go to hell to speak to dead people to let you know what to do.
Yes, you need to go
to hell.
You need to go talk to a prophet, but he's dead. You know,
a prophet.
Basically, yeah. She had to basically in the story, in the original story, he goes and visits a prophet who tells him how to get home. But in this story, he visits the spirits.
To consult the ghost of Tiresias.
Yeah. And in this story, he goes and essentially talks to the ghost of all the men that he failed along the way, who died along the way, and basically told...
There's a Hermione in Greek mythology.
Huh.
The only daughter of Menelaus and Helen.
Oh. Hermione Granger. So Cersei gives him important news and tells him the direction of his journey, and he needs to travel to the realm of the dead. And when he gets there, he has to go through the underworld. And I was really surprised that they can just sail to the underworld. Like,
yeah, it's right there. Make a wrong turn, you're there. I mean, it's the same thing going to Jersey. Make a wrong turn, you're in Jersey.
That is true. End up in Trenton. That's the underworld. So Odysseus and his remaining men into the underworld. The dead are everywhere. Odysseus is forced to confront the people whose death are connected to his decisions. The movie makes Hades feel less like a fantasy and more like Odysseus walking through the consequences that he chose throughout his life.
Who knew hell was a place on earth? Ooh, hell is a place on earth.
So we talked about Senna, right? And how he was upset that he didn't know about the horses. And he was also upset that he wasn't given a proper burial. And he also talked to Agamemnon, who told him that his wife killed him. Who else did he talk to, Mary? Do you remember? Senna,
He
Agamemnon.
talked to Odysseus last. The first person he spoke to was Senna,
right?
then Senna, then Agamemnon, then Tiresias.
Who was Tiresias?
I do not remember. You want me to look it up?
No.
Okay. But yeah, I thought that scene was sick. I like how they could not speak until they drank the blood of the sacrifice. The dead could not speak until they had to slaughter that ram, and they let the blood. They put a shield on the ground. They slaughtered the lamb. They drained the blood of the lamb onto the shield, and then when the dead came, they had to drink from that blood to speak to them. You remember that?
Mm.
Huh. Yeah, I loved how the dead looked. That they were still in the clothes they died in. It was just midnight black.
Yeah.
They looked like Dementors, just ghastly, but still in what they died in. It reminds me. Remember in Bone Swans, that story where the clowns take over and kill everybody, and then they had to look in the mirror at themselves and they saw themselves dead.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I like it when or even in Beetlejuice, like people, wherever Beetlejuice lived, they looked like if you got hit in the head by a shovel, you're still going to have that gash in your head. So
yeah,
I thought that it was good and creepy. It was
incredibly creepy.
It was very witchy. I like it. But blood, it's important. And blood, how do I say it? Because I am Christian, Mom thought it was so evil. I'm Christian. I'm not too creeped out by like blood when it comes to like religious things. You know what I mean? But I did think that was I thought it was interesting. And then, we find out from Sino that Antinous is not keeping his promise. His father died poor. So it's like, I went to war in his place because I thought he was going to take care of my family, and he didn't even do that. He's trying to bang your wife. So I could have been home taking care of my family. So it's like, I'm mad at you, Odysseus, for not telling me, and also give Antinous back his shame. And he gave him the lot. They drew lots to figure out who was going to Troy. And he's giving them back that lot, saying, you were supposed to go, and here's your shame. Take it back. Because he switched lots with him.
Also, Agamemnon told them, don't expect the hero's welcome when you get home.
Exactly.
Right.
Mom called that. She was like, remember what the man said? I was like, oh, Mom, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but my friend Fluffy said it too. Ben Safdie plays Agamemnon, and I wish he never spoke. Killed it for me.
He took all the fear.
All the power.
All the power, so he's opened his mouth.
He sounds so soft, and I hope this actor never hears that. I'm sorry, but I'm like, what? Even his face, he had them baby blue eyes and what? Give me somebody fearsome, a little ugly, or at least like strikingly handsome. He has a baby face and a baby. I was like, this is Agamemnon? Take that armor off. Let me put that on. I said, ew, I wish he never spoke. Ew.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, and then afterwards,
the dead rose up and chased him off.
Tiresias was like, "Yeah, they're mad you didn't honor them. You need to sell us and honor them." And they said, "We gonna get you for it." And this whole movie is men running away off the beach back to their ships. You know that song is like, I just imagine that in like a clip of them just running like, ah, back to the ship, back to the ship, It's just beaches of horror and running back to the ship. Like
it's do you think that the prophecies that Odysseus heard, do you think there was another way? Do you think he had to go that way? Like he had to understand the consequences of his
Oh
actions.
yeah, Tiresias tells him his choices when it comes to Scylla and Charybdis. He said pretty much if you try to save any men, all of them are going to end up dying. So he's saying, listen, you could either go to the what's it called, the whirlpool, the whirlpool Scylla,
or face Scylla.
Or face Charybdis. No, Scylla was the
I thought Scylla was a monster.
No, Scylla. Wait, actually, let me see.
I think Scylla's a monster
here.
in the whirlpool.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. What page is this? I got it. I got it. So, okay, so Scylla, the name of two different figures. The first was Scylla is the monster. So
you're the monster.
There's two versions in myth, but I'm reading from this book. The first was a sea monster who lived concealed in the Straits of Messina on the Italian coast. She had the form of a woman with a ring of 6 dog heads around the lower part of her body.
Gross. These
ferocious creatures devour all that pass within their reach. So yes, this is what came out of the cave and snatched up the men. When Odysseus' ship passed by the cave where the monster was lying in wait, the dogs leapt out and consumed 6 of the hero's companions. And they said their names. Okay, so as to how Scylla became the frightful monster of the Odyssey, traditions are equally varied. So Ovid, another writer, claims that a man named Glaucus was in love with Scylla and scorned the love of Circe in return. So the sorceress, she was mad, so she took her revenge out on Scylla and mixed magic herbs with the water of the fountain where Scylla bathed, and she immediately transformed the top half of her body the same, but 6 terrifying dogs grew from her groin.
Gross.
And that's one of the backstories of how she became a monster. So yeah, so that's Scylla and Charybdis. Song.
So
Charybdis.
So we skipped the sirens.
I'm just saying. So that's what Tiresias said. He said, "Hey, if you try to, you can go to the whirlpool and everyone dies.
Yep.
But if you go to the monster Scylla, 6 men die.
Yep.
And the more, everyone's going to die. You're going. Oh, he told him that's what Tiresias was like, only you are going to make it out. Yep. And Odysseus was like, bet that's not going to happen. He's like, you still defy the gods. So yeah.
So after they leave Hades, they're faced with the sirens, and the sirens are they also sea nymphs, or something different?
So they're sea demons.
Demons, okay.
Half woman, half bird. And actually, yeah, they could fly. They could fly.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
And the sirens actually make their first appearance in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
And originally there were only 2 of them in the Odyssey. Then later on they became like up to 4, and they all played instruments. Like in a harmony. They were like a band. One played the flute, the other played the lyre, the other sung. So Odysseus is warned that the siren's song is irresistible. And, he tells his men to clog his ears. And Odysseus is tied to the mast because he wants to hear it. And in Nolan's film, he describes it as a delicious itch that you go to scratch, but you realize it's underneath the skin. I've been feeling that all day, James. Literally.
Why have you been feeling that all day?
I don't know. I feel it now. I think when I think about it, like an itch that you cannot scratch. Like, you ever itch between your ears?
Oh, yeah, like your brain?
Yeah, your brain is itchy. You could never scratch it. And he said that it was like they sing of everything you ever wanted, and then they tell you that everything you ever wanted is what you had and you lost.
Wow.
And
Why do you think
yeah,
you wanted to hear it?
nigga, I want to hear it. I would do it too. I actually keep saying, yeah, I will hear it too.
Wow.
I need to hear it. I gotta hear it. Strap me to the mast. It'll probably go destroy me, but I need to hear it. What do you mean?
The way the sirens work is they sing and put men into the trance, and they walk off the ship and fall to their death. And when they fall into the ship,
the ships
drown.
crash into the rocks, and the sirens eat them.
Oh, okay. I thought they walk off the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, they swim there. Normally the whole ship goes over there. So it crashed against the rocks and like, oh, time to eat. But you know.
It's dinner time.
So would you don't want to, you wouldn't have heard their song?
No.
I need to hear it. What do you think they'll sing to you, James?
You're fat, you're fat, you're fat, fat, fat.
It's supposed to be something that's appealing, something that wants you to join them.
You like food, but you're still fat. They're just coming fat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could do that.
I know, exactly. You are just as bad. Just as bad. Just with no, musical skills.
I can sing a little bit, but yeah, I can't play no instruments. But yeah. But the sirens, they had like a positive twist. Like later on, they are depicted as like people who sang for the blessed and blessed lands, and then later on, figures of the sirens are like coughed into sarcophagi. So
I don't know what that means. Sarcophagi? Sound like a
It's
disease.
plural sarcophagus. I wanted to say huh?
That's esophagus. What is a sarcophagus?
No, sarcophagus. No, a sarcophagus. That's like an old tomb, like tombs that Egyptians use. Yeah.
So let's get to Scylla and Charybdis. So,
Skyla, and
so this is called the Sea of Monsters, right? So when the crew,
we already described Skyla, so Charybdis.
We did.
Yeah.
So, do you think do you think Odysseus was justified in sacrificing 6 men to save the rest? Because his crew did not. His crew was kind of pissed off by it. They were like, hey, you knew that those men would die, and you let them die anyway. Who are you to decide?
He's their leader.
He's the king. But at this point, they're like, every man has to survive. So what would you do, Mary, if you knew the 6 people had to die, and you're the only one who knew? Would you sacrifice those 6 to save the rest of everybody else? You think you'd be able to do it?
I would. I mean, they're all going to die anyway. I don't know. What's more her? Yeah, I guess it's inevitable. I think he still believes that all of them aren't going to die. So if
wasn't it prophesied they were going to die?
Yeah, but he didn't believe it. He didn't want to believe it. He was told. He said only you're going to go home. Every single one of them is going to die. Yeah. But he's defiant. He didn't believe it. So yes, if I was defiant like him, and I didn't want to believe that everyone would die, I would choose Scylla. That's the monster. But if I knew what I knew, I think I don't want to be alone though. I don't know. I would go if I knew and if I accepted they're all going to die, I would do the whirlpool. You guys all die together, and maybe drowning is a little worse, a little better than getting eaten alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I forget who told me this. I'm not sure if you.
And one thing that's interesting, once Charybdis becomes the whirlpool, it says in this book, 3 times every day, Charybdis drinks great quantities of seawater, swallowing everything that's floating, including any ships which were in the vicinity. So the whirlpool is her drinking.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So what were you saying?
I forgot who said this to me, if I heard this somewhere, but it feels like this movie is people telling men you can't do that, or this will happen, and the men do that, and the consequences happen, and then they're surprised.
It's Odysseus.
So, even the next, when they actually get to Zeus's island.
No, that's Helios' island, the sun god.
The sun god. Okay, the sun god's island.
Is his name Helios?
I thought Zeus was the sun god.
Mm-mm.
But anyway, they get to the island of the sun god, and Odysseus is like, hey, do not touch any of the cows. The cows are immortal. You can't touch them, right? We have to live here and not touch them. The man's like, sure, fine, whatever. We won't kill him. Until one morning he woke up and they were making brisket.
So later it was Helios, but it's also Apollo too. Like later in Greek and Roman history, it became Apollo. So yeah,
Okay.
they did say Apollo's flock. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were making brisket, and you would have smoked that brisket too, James.
I would have smoked it. I would have ate that cow day too.
Because them cows was messing with them. They had to shoot the cows away. The cows were coming up to them, try to play. Stop taunting me.
Cows are like that.
Tauntalus.
Cows are friendly.
Like, I'll eat you up.
So he essentially is like, guys, I told you, and now you got to suffer the consequences. And as soon as they leave that island, they're hit by a terrible storm.
Where literally the thunder was so loud in that theater, I thought I was going to lose my hearing. I had to cover my ears.
Being in that movie theater felt like I was at a concert. How much my ears were ringing.
Literally. The seats were ringing. It was immersive. It was absolutely immersive, but God.
Was the regular showing, not IMAX version,
not at all. No, not at all.
Normal? Okay.
Not at all. It was loud, but my seat wasn't ringing. It wasn't like shaking underneath of me from the sound. But we see Athena again, and Odysseus, I think he says something that I feel like as a believer we all believe and feel sometimes, that the gods or God doesn't speak in ways we don't understand. Like wishing that God would be more direct. And she's like, what don't you understand about thunder or about fear or about loss? You know what I mean? And it's like, but I do get that sometimes, like, just talk to me. Just talk to me in a way I understand. But he is talking to me, I just I gotta listen. And I think one thing that Calypso said is that Odysseus really needed to relinquish control. And I think it had to take all of his men to die to relinquish control.
Because he's so used to planning everything out?
He thought he controlled everything. He thought he could defy the gods. He thought he could control fates and get everybody home alive. And I'm like, you didn't. You couldn't. And I get his hubris. He literally was one of the veterans of the Trojan War. They did something amazing.
They won the war because of him.
Because of him.
It was his idea.
And definitely because, of everyone else, Achilles too. But the Trojan Horse was a stroke of genius.
Yeah, it was.
They never would have got inside. So, yeah.
So,
actually, I think Achilles was complaining. He was sad because his concubine or his girl was taken. So he was mad at Menelaus. No, he was mad at Agamemnon. He was always beefing with him. So, yeah, who knows how much Achilles hoped.
So, Odysseus, the movie jumps back to Odysseus back in Calypso. Mm-hmm. And he revealed that he's been there for 7 years. And the lotus flower that he's been eating allows him to forget his previous life, which means he can escape the pain of everything that happened. But he decides that it's time for him to go back to Ithaca. And his memories come back strong enough that he realized what he's been doing. And that he's been hiding not only from his responsibilities as king, but from himself and all the tragedies and the violence he had to endure over the past 20 years. So he makes a ship and he heads back. He makes a raft, rather, after the remains of a ship. And he heads back to Ithaca. And he gets there.
With Circe's help, yeah.
With Circe's help. He gets there. And when he gets there, he sees his old friend, the blind man. I don't remember his name.
Eurymachus?
Yeah, Eurymachus.
Your maze. Oh,
yes, his loyal servant the whole time. And the servant kept his dog, his hunting dog, the whole time. And
I got so mad every time they kicked that dog.
yeah, every time they kicked the dog, me too. But the dog basically stayed alive for 20 years until Odysseus came there and saw him sitting on that pile of dog crap, right? And he basically said, "Good dog," and the dog was able to pass away.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was sweet.
Anyway.
And that's when Telemachus knew. He was like, "How the way this dog reacted to you, and the fact the dog died, you are Odysseus."
Yeah, once he met up with Telemachus.
Because, he took Tiresias' advice and Agamemnon's advice. Say, hey, don't come home expecting garlands and praise.
They would have killed him.
They would have killed you, like my wife killed me, like Clytemnestra killed him.
Yeah, no, they would have.
Understandably so.
They would have killed him.
Xenia was so cute in that movie. That little black girl. She was so cute.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So,
and you supposed to lay up with you after that?
So Telemachus, he tries to go home because he's in Sparta, and they try to assassinate him in Sparta.
No,
right?
Not in Sparta, and Pylos. I think he goes to Pylos because Pylos is also a patron city to Athena, so I think he might went there to pay his respects before going home, and that's when Antinous and the other suitors set something up to meet him at Pylos so they can get the drop on him.
Mm.
And Eumaeus knows this because they beat him up before they went and took provisions for the road. And so when Odysseus came in disguise, Eumaeus told him what happened. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to meet Telemachus in Pylos.
So Odysseus eventually makes it into where all the suitors are at. And he gets a chance to talk to Penelope.
Before he goes to Pylos and then he defeats the suitors who were scheming there too. Okay. Remember? But he meets up with Telemachus in that other place, and then they sail back to Ithaca together. So he intercepts the suitors' attack on Telemachus and Pylos, and they kill the suitors pretending to be priests. And then they go back and then they plan, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it wasn't until they got back from Pylos that Telemachus learns that that's Odysseus because that's when the dog dies.
Okay.
Okay. You remember now?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So when
I saw it twice, guys, so that's why I remember.
Yeah. So when Odysseus gets into the main hall where the suitors are at, where they've been
dining hall
every night for the past 20 years, wearing out the welcome, eating his food, drinking his wine, flirting with
the
his
beggars
wife.
are there too. They don't turn down the beggars too because they believe it could be gods in disguise. And Odysseus says, "Stop!" Because Telemachus would always say, "You have wise eyes, Athena's eyes." And Odysseus was like, "Stop looking for gods and men; you'll be disappointed." Yeah. And that's Christopher Nolan again. I guess he was right. There's no gods in the story. Yeah.
So when Odysseus was able to talk to Penelope, do you remember what they talked about?
Mm-hmm. So, he told Penelope, I fought in a war with Odysseus. I knew it was him because he carried a brooch, an Athena brooch. So Penelope knew, you did see him. Because, there was so many people coming to Penelope lying and said they seen Odysseus. That's how she knows that they really saw Odysseus. And, he was like, what if the man that Odysseus is long gone? And he pretty much told her why he didn't want to come home. Because just like you said, the Trojan War and just unleashing all that onto Troy. And, war is, you're not just fighting soldiers, it's the people. And then the woman this whole time that we saw depicted as Athena was actually a priestess that he did not help. And she got beheaded right in front of him. And so many awful things happened too. And one thing, and this may be a stretch, but I think it's interesting. I was looking through my art history book. Well, we know in Troy, Odysseus and his men, they behead a great statue of Athena. There's a name for that statue. It's a well-known name for the statue. I think it's called the Paladin. I don't know. It's a really important statue, and they beheaded. But I was looking through the art history book, and like those sort of like freestanding statues in antiquity were called, if it's a woman, they were called a chore. That was the name of like a female statue. And chores normally depict like priestesses or let's see, deities and like nymphs, right? So there's this one chore statue called the Peplos chore, which was found in a cemetery near Athens, in like some BCE time. And the name of my art history book, it says that the name the book uses for the statue is based on an assessment of her clothing as a young girl's peplos, which is a draped rectangular fabric made to look like a blouse. So because she was dressed in that peplos, they thought, that she was just like a regular girl, because she's wearing a regular girl's clothing. But upon closer looking, they noticed that the garments, there was, but it was recently been argued that this chore, that's a statue, is actually wearing a sheath-like garment, originally painted with the frieze of animals, identifying her not as a young girl, but as a goddess, perhaps Athena or Artemis. So I think it's interesting that this is the statue right here, the Peplos of Chore. And like they said, because she's wearing a peplos, they think she's an ordinary girl. But when you look at it, there's a whole bunch of animal designs on here that suggested that she may be Athena or Artemis. And I think it's interesting. You have this ordinary girl, but she's really a goddess. And that's how Odysseus saw Zendaya's character. An ordinary girl is a goddess in your mind because she was a representation of kind of a defilement of Athena and also defilement of like morality too, you know what I mean? So you thought that was just normal girl, but that was a goddess in disguise. You're saying gods and men, you could be entertaining a god. You killed one in your mind. And now you're haunted by it.
Now he's haunted by it.
I don't know why this just reminded. I thought it was interesting.
So when Penelope, she comes up with a test to find her suitor. And she says, whoever can string this bow.
But you got to tell the lore about the bow.
It's Odysseus's bow, the king's bow. And the way that you have to string it is tricky. You have to like bend it.
It's not tricky. No one was strong enough to bend it.
It was tricky. It was also the way it was designed. It was strength, but also it like bended the opposite direction that most bows bend.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. So they have to like, because he had to basically like grab it and like kind of kneel down and twist it another way for
you had to be strong.
Yeah, you had to be strong. Yes, strong. But there was a trick. But there was a trick to it, and he was the only one that could string his bow.
He had to be strong and cunning.
And then he also could shoot an arrow through a series of axes through a target. And she offered to suitors, whoever could do this, I'll marry him.
Like she literally put two axes, like crisscross applesauce, in a narrow opening between the axes. He could shoot through it perfectly.
Yes. And all the suitors tried, and they failed. And when Odysseus, acting like the beggar, offered to try, everyone laughed at him. And he was able to do it perfectly.
There was one scene where the beggar's sitting on the step and his face is completely shrouded in the clothing he's wearing. And it just looks so cool. Yeah. He's just sitting there, and he's a beggar, but he's confident. You can see that he's like confident. Like he's kind of sitting with like one leg up. You could tell even though they don't show, you could tell he's sitting like that. And he's just like, it's just cool. It's just shot. This movie is very cool looking, y'all.
It is. So as soon as he reveals that he's Odysseus, this man turns the F up and starts slaughtering people left and right. And he does not let Telemachus help him, though, which I think is different than any other version of the stories of the Odyssey I heard, because he felt as though Telemachus helped him and committed bloodshed, that he would go against the laws of Zeus for not treating the guests with hospitality, and he would have to put himself into exile. So instead, he single-handedly fought everyone and killed all
Telemachus
the suitors.
did help, though. He went up to... So he
held all the weapons.
Yeah,
he made sure there was no escape.
Yeah, and that servant girl who was into Antinous, I was like, some of y'all just like men too much. Like, ew, it's just a man. Like, she was so excited. But Antinous made a good point because, like I said, that servant girl is the one who told Antinous that Penelope is undoing her weaving every night. And she was like, he pretty much said, you can't be mad about a servant. They have to be loyal to the winning house. Like, this is their life, Yeah. Like, being loyal to the wrong person could mean life or death. But, like, I'm like, dog, she was kissing on that man. I was like, y'all like niggas too much for me. Like, what? It's just a man. But, yeah. So, yeah, the servants who are loyal, they locked up all the weapons. But one of the snake servants pretty much, like, bashed a hole in the ground to drop the weapons through the ceiling down below to where Odysseus was killing everyone. And Telemachus was, like, fighting him off. And I thought Telemachus was going to die.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was going to die, too.
He used the move that was taught to him by Eumaeus, really opening up his chest and allowing the enemy to come towards you and using that energy to kill him off. He did that. So.
Yeah, the momentum to... Yeah. So, once Odysseus defeats all the suitors, he basically... In the regular story, he goes and he meets Penelope, and they're happily ever after, and then everything ends. But in this version, he decides to take Penelope, and they themselves are now exiled, because he needs to sail west to settle all of the grievances that he did. And
he needs to honor his dead.
Honor the dead, and basically the proper burials for all the people who died.
Yeah, and they're in exile, so.
Yeah. So... that change, I wasn't expecting. At first, when I walked out of the theater, I didn't really like it. Because it's like, what's the point of you fighting all the way back just to leave immediately afterwards?
Because Penelope and Telemachus is there.
Yeah, but now he left Telemachus again?
He can always come back, maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
He's
That's
exiled. Exiled is permanent.
But at least he righted what needed to happen. Telemachus needed to be king, so he needed to tie up some loose ends, and he wanted to see Penelope. So it's not wasted because he fixed everything. He handled the suitors, so he fixed everything for the next regime.
Do you like that version? You rather hate Christopher Nolan?
I do like that version. I think he's tired. Being a king, what if another war comes? I don't think he wants to do this anymore. I think he wants to retire. I think he wants to ride off chasing the sun with his girl. Retiring. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Penelope is definitely tired of being queen. She want her nigga. And she want to retire. She want to grow old with him. Like, so, yeah, I think it's great.
So what would you rank this movie, Mary?
A large bag of popcorn. If you haven't seen it in IMAX, seeing it in IMAX is great, but I don't understand things if it's too loud. So I suggest seeing it in the standard. But it is a beautiful movie. Like I said, standard isn't as immersive, but, if you care about dialogue and if you don't understand English like I do not see it in IMAX. But this is a great movie. Christopher Nolan did his big one. The cast is perfect. Like I said, the only thing I was disappointed by is Calypso just looking like a regular woman after seeing the Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean. But, for me, when I understand a director's, perspective and direction, I give him a lot more leeway, because if that's what you intended, I can't expect a movie to be what it never was intended to be. So once I know a director's intentions, that kind of gives me some leeway. Sometimes your intentions are stupid, but I get this. So I give it a 10 out of 10. Go watch it. Is it hyped? Yeah, because the movie is literally hyped. It's like the best movie that ever came out in the history of the world, but it's pretty freaking good. So go watch it. And it's an amazing cast. No one besides Agamemnon, I don't know why they casted him, but everyone else is beautiful. It's that they are stellar. These are A-list seasoned actors. So go watch it. Watch that, Jawn.
I think that this movie is why I like movies. You know,
it's nice seeing that many people go to the theater. Literally, we went to this. It was sold out. IMAX was sold out everywhere. We had to go all the way to Neshaminy to watch this movie, and it was packed. Niggas was either seeing Spider-Man, everyone was in Spider-Man gear, or they was in the Odyssey. It was crazy.
Yeah.
The movies are back.
Movies are back, and I just felt as though just in depth and immersed the entire time. Like, it was a lot of action, but, you know, the Odyssey is a love story. You know, there was some...
It's a homecoming.
There's like some funny things happen in the movie. You know, it was some things that you're trying to figure out. Okay, what's gonna go on? Like, I feel as though this movie, even though you really know how it ends and what happens, it still was this way that it's a trick to show you, like, surprising you. You know, it's like they did a really good job, like you said.
They said the film Variety said the film grossed $1.1 billion worldwide. Wow.
$1.1 billion.
Billion is crazy.
Yeah. I think the budget was like $250 million or something like that.
Yeah.
It is the first movie, like we said, that was ever shot in all IMAX cameras, so much so that they had to go to IMAX and have them design these like sound like barriers around the camera, because the camera is like, it goes through so much film so fast that it sounds like a generator going. So the cameras, you couldn't hear the individual dialogue. So you had to basically get like something to insulate the sound. Also, the cameras were so huge that the actors, when they were sitting next to each other, the camera actually blocked the direct view of the actors. They couldn't see each other sitting across from each other. So they had to come up with these,
I could never tell,
mirrors to basically, like, they can see each other through the mirror. Right. Kind of like in the room.
Right.
But they were still able to, just the technical expertise, them recording everything on site. This is, I watched that, Jawn. And then even the score, Mary, normally like you expect classical music. For the score, they went, and it's the same musical producer as the one who did the
Sinners?
Not Sinners. Actually, it might be Sinners.
Is it Jorgen something?
Yeah,
Jorgen.
Jorgen. Yeah, that dude, Jordan. Ludwig.
I did notice the score when Odysseus was recounting the Trojan War. It was mournful. It was beautiful, but it was mournful.
They basically went into like old ancient archives and recreated the instruments of that time to record the music, and taught themselves how to play those instruments and figured out how those instruments would sound to build the score. It's not just regular violins and cellos.
Literally archaic instruments. Yeah.
Yes,
they really give you that sound.
Yes, they have did everything possible to make this movie feel authentic, and it worked. This is a watch that, Jawn. It's probably going to win a bunch of Oscars. Maybe not Best Picture. I don't think it will win Best Picture.
What do you think is winning Best Picture?
I don't know.
This is a shoo-in for Best Picture.
Yeah, I don't know. They like shafting.
I haven't seen people go to the movies in droves like this since Endgame. Yeah.
But Sinners didn't win Best Picture, and Sinners was the Best Picture last year.
They're black.
That's true. But I don't know. This is a watch that, Jawn. I recommend going to see an IMAX. If you want to hear the dialogue, just rent it on DVD when it comes out.
I think if you don't care about if you're not really big into like, if you don't notice the difference, watch the standard.
Yeah. If you
just want to see the movie, go see the movie.
Yeah.
Because them tickets ain't cheap.
They're not cheap. But go to the movies, go see it, and tell your friends to listen to us at the Watch That Jawn podcast.
Absolutely. No one's giving a better recap of this film than us. Yes. I don't care if Christopher Nolan himself did it. We better.
Exactly. Recap and the history behind Shout out to Mary. Clap it up for Mary for doing all the research
Look at my degree coming on.
on Greek mythology. But once again, guys, thank you for watching and listening to another episode of the Watch That Jawn podcast. You can follow us on our social media pages on Instagram and TikTok. It's all linked in the show notes. So until next time.
Bye.